a quantum acquisition at Microsoft, where you now had a supposed independent agency, you're being owned by a media company. And not to put you on the spot, Brian, but we saw a press release a few weeks back where Eric Schmidt and Maurice Levy are best buds now. So what's going on here? I mean, how close should they be? Isn't kind of a healthy, quasi-confrontational relationship good in the agency versus publisher world?
Well,
or is it?
There are two things about that. One, as everybody's pointed out a lot, digital space it's a measurable space. I mean, there are results, and that sort of keeps everybody on the same playing field. If you're driving to a business objective and Avenue A is buying advertising on MSN.com and it doesn't work, well, then why would you do it again? And there's no reason for that. So I think having us grounded in data keeps it separate. And as far as how cozy we should be and Google, I think we should be very cozy. What happened with Google sort of happens for us as a matter of course, and I think it happens a lot with everybody, where we are trying to always be in touch with the marketplace, always have people come into us with new ideas, new insights, new sections, new functionality they're building out. We're trying to go to them with new ideas. I think the days of the relationship and the campaign starting with an RFP where I'm like, this is what we're looking for, and somebody sends something back and says, well, this is our version of that, and we go, oh, okay. That's kind of over, and I think the Google thing is a formalization of what went on for a long time, because we've been a long-standing partner with Google, and I think we've gone through a lot of testing with them where we were able to test out some data opportunities, give them feedback to help them shape their products. They give us some great insights to help us shape our marketing plan, and if we're all doing it right, it should benefit the client in the end. So that was just sort of a really high-scale extension of what we do as a matter of course.
I'd agree with that. I think that there may be this perceived risk around objectivity, but to your point, Brian, digital is measurable, so it's the objectivity question is mitigated once the rubber hits the road and you actually see how the thing performed. I mean, the initial relationship might come out due to circumstances, but it's not going to sustain itself unless the property performs for the client. And I think it's interesting what Publicis has been doing, actually. Every
businesses are very different, so I don't think that that's a trend that we'll keep seeing. I think it has to do with buying a piece of technology.
Yeah, I think the Avenue A Microsoft deal is very different from the Google Publicis, in that I think most of the agencies out there are working with Google and Yahoo, and at least from my perspective in the search side of things, we really view them more as partners than as vendors in every way, shape, or form. It's really important for us to share information and for us to work together to get the best insight that we can, not just as far as the way campaigns are performing, but as far as user behavior in general, and direction and opportunities for different advertising possibilities moving forward. And then as far as Avenue A and Microsoft, it's all about the data. I think the more data you have, the more, as Stephanie mentioned, the better margin you can get, and the more efficient you can be for your clients. And I don't think that the performance is necessarily. I don't think you can say that if it doesn't perform well, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think that the point is that you can find efficiencies and increase the performance by having more and more data.
Oh, you got a quick?
Yeah, I think maybe I disagree just a little bit. I actually do.
I was hoping somebody would.
Yeah, I actually do think, from the trend perspective, I actually think we're going to see more of this. I think this is a trend we're going to continue to see. I think for a variety of reasons, some of which have already been mentioned. But in terms of whether it's good or bad, I think it's neither. I do think, yes, you're right. When when there is a somewhat quasi-adversarial relationship, there is some degree of integrity that's applied there. But I think, quite frankly, it has a lot more to do with the way that you do it. I know at one-to-one, this year we're in the process of standing up some very focused media networks, And quite frankly, all we're doing is leveraging the experience we already have of understanding how to drive traffic cheaply to websites and then monetizing that on behalf of our clients. Obviously, one of the challenges for us is that we need to make sure, to Stephanie's point, that using those properties is only done at a time and a place when it's appropriate for our clients, and that has a lot more to do with the integrity about how you actually incent people, what you incent your account teams for, and how you operate. And I think that's really key. But I do think we're going to see more of this. I don't think this is the end.
Man, I'm just asking, absent technology, like the ad serving, what value does an agency, a professional services firm, have to Yahoo? I mean, why would they buy an agency?
I think in my specific example, I'm pointing to actually more of a different model where you're actually developing organic networks based on your own knowledge of how to deal with the marketplace in a particular demographic. So I'm not sure in your example, I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that. But I can point in our example to the development of networks where we know a particular demographic particularly well. So for us to go out and build properties that we can then basically monetize using an intellectual knowledge that we already have, makes good sense for our clients. It also diversifies our client and our revenue base, as long as it doesn't present us with conflicts of interest that endanger or that do not represent a conflict of interest. I think it makes sense. So in your case, it might not, but I'm talking about sort of more building from that.
Any other thoughts on that? Should we move on? So what most of you represent integrated shops with multiple channels. I mean, it seems like every day we're hearing about mobile this and video that and texting this. I mean, if you're